So one of the questions, of course, I think that's posed to women a lot, whether you're born Muslim, whether you converted, is the hijab. I look at it as something, I think even before I converted, I had the same ideology, same assumptions. Why do they have to wear that, right?
I think this is a really important question, especially the way we think about today, especially when it comes to religion, right? The thinking about why do I need to do this, okay? Now, however, I think if we are being really consistent and truthful to ourselves, there are many things that we do in life, and we do it and we want to do it, not necessarily because we understand the why, it's more so because we understand the who behind it. Okay, so an example would be like someone who is into investment, right? And they may not understand where they're putting their money into, but they may have some people that they follow and they trust. That, like Warren Buffett is an example, right? Oh, this is his philosophy. This is what he does, right? The reason people follow that, and just by saying, oh, Warren says this, right? That becomes an argument, right? The reason being, oh, well, he has done so well for himself, so he must know what he's talking about. Right? Someone would do the same thing, like who is trying to change the way they look. Oh, this guy or this athlete or this this model, she does this, so I must do this as well. Like this should work for me, right? So we then, and yes, they will understand some sort of a why. They can explain for a few minutes, but obviously, if you drill them, they wouldn't know what they're talking about. It's mainly coming from the who behind the statement or the principle or the value. So I think this is really, really important, that the main reason why we do it, right? So if you go back to the story of our creation, how Allah created human beings, right? And how Allah, for example, remember the situation, right? That Allah put our father and mother in paradise, right? So Allah is the creator. I've given everything in paradise is for you, right? Now, don't go and eat from this tree, okay? No reason or explanation was given to them. Right, and that is what submission is, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that the reason we do it, first and foremost, is that we understand that we are creation and we have a creator who is all wise, right? Meaning that his orders are not random. So it's not just that Allah says something because of whatever, right? It's a specific thing, and it's the right thing to be tested with, and it's the right thing for the betterment of the society. So it's, scholars have said, for example, that the Sharia, the law, has few intentions and purposes, such as helping you protect your religion, helping you as humans protect your lineage, right? Protect your wealth, your honor, and your intellect. So every law would kind of sort of apply to these things, and it would make it easier and convenient for it to be applied. So because you believe in that, and you believe that Quran is from that God, that creator, and the Sunnah, the messenger, is from that God, is a true messenger, that is the reason we do it, because we believe that we want to submit to the one who has created us. Okay. Now the second thing is also about the wisdom, right? So sometimes what happens is that we can understand wisdom behind, okay, well, what's the value of hijab, right? If women in the society, they wear hijab, is that going to be more productive for the society or not, right? Now we can debate and look at studies and statistics and what have you. However, obviously, as the world progresses, that's how people will gradually understand, right? I mean, your own personal experiences, the experiences of people around you, the knowledge that you have access to. So the point is that, okay, today I may be able to explain that, look, these are some of the benefits of hijab, right? That does not mean that I have totality. That does not mean that I understand all the wisdom. As I grow older, or as things progress, maybe people in the next century will be able to understand the importance of hijab even more, right? So for example, like today what we see on TikTok and Instagram, right, of how especially, the females go about, showing themselves and creating this whole followers and influences and all that sort of stuff, is that something really productive for the society or not, right? Now, that concept itself is a new data point, right? I didn't have that 5 years ago, for example. So the point I'm trying to say is that sometimes we'll have more wisdom as we have more data, more research, and what have you. But for any law of Islam, the reason we do it is we believe. What is your perspective, right? Do we believe that, okay, this body, these eyes, these ears, this capability of thinking and seeing and hearing, is it mine, Or is there trust from Allah that, look, I'm giving you these things and I'm testing you, will you use it in a productive way, in a way that I want you to use it? Or you have a free will, you can choose to do whatever you want with that. So that is essentially, the reason behind everything. Now, for any rule of Islam, yes, you can, there are like tons and tons of studies, what happens in a society that has hijab versus what happens in a society that doesn't, right? And people can like look up to it, but that would something that can always be contended, right? Someone will create that data. A famous thing is you can interpret the data as however you like, right? So I think those things are important. They give you more confidence. However, those are not the reason that we worship or that we do, right? So whenever you're doing something, I think the mindset, and this is even when you're talking to non-Muslims, is like, well, we think that we have a creator, right? And he has given us values. Because otherwise you think about it, like whatever anybody's values are, where are they coming from? How do you decide what I should do? Like, so if someone asks you, hey, would you do this? Like, no, I don't do this, right? I would never do this. Why? For anything. Is it because, I've always found that to be, mean? I've always found this to be like really bad, yucky for me, or like that's just how I grew up, or that's not my principle, that's not my principle of my family, or what would my friends say about it, right? Or I think if I do it, then it will have some sort of bodily harm to me or an intellectual harm to me, right? So the principles or values of deciding what we do and what we don't do, they always come from somewhere or someone. So, and that's what worship is, right? I submit that these are my values and these are my boundaries, and I'll do with that. So that's what I would say about any sort of why, right? And then yes, that does not mean that there's a discouragement to not seek the wisdom, right? So then the question becomes not why am I doing it? The reason I'm doing it is because I want to obey Allah and I trust in Allah. And then the next question becomes, well, let's take a look. Like, what are some of the wisdoms or benefits of a society that follows Islamic rule, right? So what are some of the benefits to an individual and to a society that doesn't have gambling, that doesn't drink alcohol, in which women wear hijab, and so on and so forth.